Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
I've talked about right to repair on this channel quite a few times, and the company that often pops up in those stories is John Deere, Deere and Company. And they have been one of the manufacturers fighting against right to repair, arguing that their equipment is so complicated and complex that really, if average people try to fix it, they'll probably cause more harm than good. And so it really makes sense for them to be, in charge of who can work on their stuff. That's their argument. However, several people sent me this story from agweb.com and elsewhere. Deere and Company reaches $99 million settlement in multi-year right to repair litigation. So the company emphasizes a commitment to customer service and innovation. Repair advocates suggest that pending state legislation might offer stronger protections for farmers. So no one thinks this is the end of it. But a lot of people think this might be a small step in the right direction. Eduardo Morales wrote this for agweb.com. Deere and Company announced a settlement agreement resolving the right to repair litigation before the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois. The company will pay $99 million plus interest into a settlement fund for the benefit of the settlement class. In a press release, the company states the agreement brings the case to a close with no findings of wrongdoing, and that's often the case with litigation. The agreement marks a pivotal moment in the multi-year legal battle aiming to compensate producers for repair restrictions while avoiding a formal admission of liability. While Deere marks the move as a step toward better customer support, the settlement fuels debate with advocates who argue the payout fails to address control over the repairs of farm machinery. Under the terms of the agreement, Deere will establish a fund to cover administrative and legal fees, with the remainder distributed to eligible class members. Deere says it remains committed to supporting customers with access to manuals, diagnostic software, and specialized tools. In the old days, I'm talking about like 100 years ago, a man bought a tractor, and he's using it on the farm, and it breaks down. He'd go get his toolbox, and on the way back out to his tractor, followed by his trusty bloodhound, he would fix his own tractor in his field because he could do that. Nowadays, tractors are as complicated, if not more so, than a car, and they've got onboard computer systems and all kinds of engine control systems and all kinds of stuff. And so the idea that you just pop the hood and take a wrench to it, no, it's not that easy anymore. However, the question is, should Deere be allowed to say, well, we have tools that can fix that stuff, but we're not going to let you access them. And if you attempt to fix it yourself, you're going to do things like, void the warranty or something. So Vice President at Deere says, as we continue to innovate industry-leading equipment and technology solutions supported by our world-class dealer network, we're equally committed to providing customers and other service providers with access to repair resources. We're pleased that this resolution allows us to move forward and remain focused on what matters most, serving our customers. Now, not everyone thinks this solves the problem. The executive director of the Repair Association says, I suspect there's a lot less to this deal than meets the eye. She has questions, including, in the settlement, Deere agreed to make available to farmers for 10 years the digital tools required for the maintenance, diagnosis, and repair of large agricultural equipment, including tractors, combines, and sugarcane harvesters. What does that mean for other John Deere equipment? In response, John Deere says its latest digital self-repair tool, launched in July of last year, is designed to enhance how John Deere equipment owners use, maintain, diagnose, repair, and protect their equipment. The tool provides support capabilities across John Deere's agricultural, turf, construction, and forestry equipment portfolio. Besides all that, there are 16 right to repair bills covering agricultural equipment filed this year in 16 states. So many people think, okay, suing the company and working out settlements is fine. We need legislation on this. So there are right now pending in 16 different states, 16 bills on right to repair that would affect the situation. That advocate says several are likely to pass with much stronger requirements. Meanwhile, a board member of the Repair Association and a consultant on the case, since it was filed back in 2022, says he believes Deere will continue to move the goalposts and keep farmers reliant on their monopolistic repair policy. He says it's too little too late and will not fundamentally change the monopolistic repair environment that Deere enjoys. The settlement must be approved by the court still at the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois. So there's a settlement there, a big pot of money, and they've promised to make some things available to the people who use their products and need to have them repaired. I worked for a couple of years in Bad Axe, Michigan, at a radio station called WLEW. I've been to Bad Axe many times since then, and one of the things that is so obvious about the area is it is a farming community. And by that I mean miles outside of town, heading towards town, you're passing through gigantic areas of farm fields. There's M53, which is Van Dyke, goes up and it cuts around like this. Farm fields as far as the eye can see in every direction, okay? And then if you drive through town, you will pass several large dealerships selling farm equipment. And I remember back then, which just a few years ago, I remember back then actually getting out and walking over and looking at some of the equipment and looking at the prices. And I was young, but I was shocked. I'm like, wait, farm tractors cost how much money? And how many of these do you need? You start understanding the situation that farmers are in, because you can't just buy that tractor I was talking about where you and Old Blue can fix it with a wrench and a screwdriver. No. You got to buy this huge thing and a couple other huge expensive devices to work on your farm. And here's the problem. If your tractor breaks down at the wrong time and you can't get it fixed fast, you are in a lot of trouble, because there are times where it is so, what they call mission critical. You're planting. You got to put the seed in the ground in a certain window of time. And if your machine breaks down while you are planting, you can't afford to stop everything you're doing, call the dealership and say, hey, my tractor broke down. Can you send someone to look at it? Well, here's the problem, dude. We're really busy right now. We're really busy. A lot of people's tractors broke down right now because apparently everybody's up planting. So tell you what, we'll get to it when we get to it. Now, it would be nice if there were more possibilities, more options. And as you can imagine, there's going to be a local John Deere dealer who sells these things locally, right? But in many industries, if the manufacturer can't help you, you can find somebody else who can. So wouldn't it be nice if there was just an independent repairman who had access to all the John Deere equipment, John Deere diagnostic tools and so on, who might be able to come out and work on your tractor? That's what you'd like to see at the very least. And it would be nice if some of that equipment was available to you so you yourself could work on it, because ain't nobody more motivated to work on that broken down tractor than you. And I remember talking to people in that community because I had read about farmers. I'd read stories in the news about the farming industry, but I'd never actually stopped and contemplated the situation they are in working. And the other thing about it is, and this is something that shocks many people, and the statistics have probably changed, so I'm not going to get the exact numbers right, so I won't even bother. But many farmers don't turn a profit every single year. What usually happens is they turn a profit periodically that makes up for their bad years. But they have to do what they can to limit their bad years and to try to make a profit as often as they can. And as you can imagine, if your machine breaks down during planting season or harvest season, there's a good chance that's going to put a big dent in your bottom line. And so it's a little different, I think, than the automobile industry, which I'm more familiar with. Because if your car breaks down or is running bad, you can take it to a dealership and they can say, oh, here's a loaner. You need to get someplace? Here's a loaner. I'm not sure how many dealerships will tell some guy when it comes to his gigantic tractor, oh, your tractor isn't going to get fixed for 6 weeks. Here, borrow this for 6 weeks. I don't think that's as common. It might happen on some level, but it's probably not as common as getting a loaner from a dealership with an automobile. And by the way, quite often you can turn in like a gigantic expensive SUV and they'll give you some econo-box loaner. It'll get you from point A to point B, but not in the same style in which you were riding in that big old SUV. And so if some guy's got this monster tractor that he needs to do his work, I don't know they have one just like it. They're willing to lend it to him while they're working on his that's broken down. So it's interesting that they've coughed up $99 million into this class action. That's interesting. But like I said, and like the other people have said, this doesn't solve the problem. What it's going to take is legislation, not litigation. Litigation is lawsuits. Legislation is laws. And there need to be laws on the books. And for some odd reason, John Deere seems to be leading the fight to defend against right to repair. So everyone who sent this, thanks a lot from agweb.com. Eduardo Morales wrote it. Deere and Company reaches $99 million settlement in multi-year right to repair class action litigation. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. Every closed eye is not sleeping, and every open eye is not seeing.